Okay, hello people. So I was asked to do a demo on frisketing. So I was asked to do both kinds, both with canvas and with paper. So I'm gonna do with paper first since I've got this piece that I'm trying to finish. And hopefully I'll be able to get it done.
Chris is passing.
Chris is passing. That's okay, it's not pointing at you anyway. So we're gonna start. So I've got my wraparound cover. Now wraparound cover is definitely going to be more tricky to frisket and to airbrush than a regular piece of paper, because you don't want to damage the comic book underneath. So how do we avoid this? We take some nice thick paper. Okay, I'm gonna turn this over. Look at the beautiful art on the inside. And we're going to the back of the cover, and we are going to gently tape this into the back of the cover. I have my low-tack blue painter's tape, which is what I'm going to use help cover this. Now I would love to be able to tape it on the front side, but I don't have too many spots where I can put the tape. I'm going to put a little piece here just to help it to hold. And maybe over here, since this goes to the edge. And I'll be frisketing that anyway. To the inside, and just a little piece of tape on the inside. Do the same thing to the front cover here. See if there are any spots on the front where I can tape it. Not really. There's a spot there and there's a spot here. So the reason you want to use the light tack painter's tape is that it will less likely to tear your paper when you take it off. So you don't want to do any damage to your sketch cover, especially for all the work that you put into doing it. You don't want to damage it. And you certainly don't want to damage the book on the inside, because, that would suck. So a couple of little pieces of tape in here, holding it down in there. So I'll show you real quick. So it's very gently taped down in there, and gently taped down on the front here and up there. Okay. So now we're ready to frisket. This is my roll of Frisket. Now this brand, according to Jason, is not making Frisket anymore. This is a nice light tack frisket. This is a very light, this is probably the lightest tack frisket that we've been able to find, and unfortunately, according to Jason, we can't get this anymore. This is Toricon, which is Toricon, and it's SP100. This is meant for airbrushing, and this is what we use. I don't know what the hell I'm going to use when I run out of this stuff, but we will burn that bridge when we get to it. I do have other friskets that I use for the paintings, which are bigger sheets, like this, which is higher tack. It means it sticks more, but I do not like to use that on paper because it will more likely damage, and we don't want damage. Damage! We only want to damage the things we actually want to damage. Alright, So we measure out about as much as we want to use. Give it a trim. And then very carefully, because this will stick to itself and drive you crazy. And since this is a large book, I want to get the edge of the frisket close to the edge of my book. Because I'm going to need to get it over this way as much as possible towards the center. I'll probably speed some of this bit up when I finish the video. Okay, flatten this side. And just gently flatten it onto your paper. And sometimes you'll have to go back and work it, but get it as smooth as you can. Chris is packing over there, that's why you keep on hearing that ripping noise in the background. Okay, now you see I have the strip in the middle. I'm not going to worry about that right now because I have extra frisket. I'm going to be trimming off the top and the bottom, so I will be using some there. I will be taking some of this and then patching there. But now I'm going to do the other side. I'm also working on top of some paper so that I'm not damaging the book on the underside. Usually I would do this at my desk for a small piece of artwork, but being as it's a bigger piece, I'm on our flat files, which gives me more space to maneuver than my desk does, especially if my desk is covered with markers and pens and stuff. Okay. And again, I want to bring this sheet as close to maybe not the edge of the paper, but the edge of the artwork. Because since I'm airbrushing outside of the artwork, then I don't have to go to the edge of the, sorry to get my noggin in the way. I don't have to go to the edge of the paper on this side because he's got some space there. Go. It is a slightly painstaking process because you don't want the frisket to stick to itself, but you don't want to have too many crinkles in your frisket. But there we go, I just stuck to it. See, you got to see me make a mistake. There you go. Again, most sketch covers are not this tricky, but this is a very large wraparound. So normally I would only have to do one side, so it's a little temperamental. Okay, so now I've got the front and the back. So now, I don't know if you can see, there's a bit of a gap between the frisket here and here, which I'm going to need to cover. So the nice thing is that I have some extra frisket at the tops and bottoms of my pages here. So I take my nice sharp X-Acto and I'm going to steal some of this. And you don't have to cut very hard. That. I'm going to take this to overlap the areas that did not get frisket. So So you just take it and patch it. And I just want to cover the DC there. And I've got some Frisket up here I can steal. And I'm just going to cover that up. Okay, now is going to be the tedious part that I'm sure you don't want to see, which is actually the cutting of the Frisket. So I'm going to put you on hold and we'll do a time lapse where you'll probably see most of the back of my head. Be right there. Okay, so I've removed the Frisket, or at least the Frisket that is over the areas that I'm going to airbrush. And the best way to check is to go at an angle, and then you can see if you missed any, left any in spots that you need to peel off, or you didn't peel off some piece or something like that. Going at an angle is really the best way to check yourself before you wreck yourself. Okay, so here's a part that you don't get to see very often. So what I do was I go through a Google search and I look at backgrounds that I might want to use, and I pull a couple of different ones, and then I, in Photoshop, lay them behind and then try to figure. I of course did not scan the ink like an idiot. Yeah, we do stupid things sometimes. So I'm going off with a pencil. I kind of like this one, and I kind of like this one. I decided to Frisket off the pink lettering, the Fight to Save Earth from Star Warriors. Mainly because I thought it would look weird if I didn't. So, here we go. Alright, so this is my reference that I'm going to be looking at while I'm working. Like I said, I didn't scan the ink because it's me, and why should I do things the right way? Also, I'm going to be working light to dark on the airbrushing. I go back to my watercolor days where I work light to dark and not dark to light. So, so as I'm going to be building up my color, and this is what I use to airbrush with, because my brain understands CMYK. I know a lot of painters, they learn to mix colors using, cadmium yellow and phthalo blue and blah, blah, blah. I never learned that, but CMYK I understand, and these are primary colors. So I've got primary magenta, primary cyan. I don't think I'm going to need any yellow in that background, so I'm leaving the yellow out, and then I've got my super black. So this is my airbrush. It's an Iwata Revolution airbrush. Why this one? Because it was there and I could afford it. That's why. And my mom always said get Iwata. That is about the extent of my decision to buy this particular airbrush. Okay, and away we go. So the magenta is mostly up in this area. And the blue in my reference is not very purple, so I'm not going to get too much out there. Maybe a little purple. A little purple out there. Alright, so now I'm going to take my new bottle of cyan. This is my primary cyan. This is whole bean acrylic ink. Okay, and here I have to be careful not to overdo the blue, because I don't want it too overpowering. And I just noticed a little some munchy Frisket up there. Okay. Has to come off one of the letters. Down here. And this is space, so I can kind of generalize a lot of stuff. Now, a lot of this is going to end up being black, so I don't have to worry too much about some areas. There's going to be a lot of blue in this area right now because I don't want to have gaps in the black. So some areas I want to have a little blotchy because outside of these areas it's going to be more black. But I want some variation in my blue before I lay my black down. So it's kind of okay to be a bit blotchy. At least the way I work anyway. Not every airbrush artist works the same way, and I can't, say that I know the quote-unquote right way to do it. This is just what works for me. And like I said, I don't mind it being a little blotchy, because the black is really going to be the defining areas of space here. So I kind of do want some blotchiness. Okay, scary time now for the black. Oh boy. This is the Hail Mary part for me. Sort of on the back end and build my way forward. And the nice thing about these holding acrylic inks is that they're transparent inks, so that if I decide I want to add more blue to my black, I can always that. And what you don't see is me keeping looking back and forth from my reference to what I'm doing. know it's really hard to tell on account of, you know, I'm kind of spraying this over the Frisket, which is over the characters, but this is actually turning out quite nice. Alright, so I'm going to turn you off for a second, and I'm going to clean up my airbrush because I think I'm kind of done with the airbrushing, and I'm going to grab my white paint, and I'm going to do my stars. Okay, I'm back. That was quick, wasn't it? Alright, so now what I'm using is, this is my Holbein acrylic ink super opaque white. When you want to do your stars and you want to see them, you need the super opaque. If you use the regular opaque, then you're not really going to see your stars. Sorry, because they'll only be semi-opaque or transparent, and then you're not going to see them, and you don't want that. So I use the super opaque white and to do my stars. These are little plastic shot glasses you can get like from the dollar store. Great for mixing inks and paints. I don't generally like using the toothbrush method because I find, yeah, see, I'm getting a bit more spatter than I actually want, but that's fine. These will be my, those will be my small stars. Now, the way I like to do big stars is I dip my finger and flick from a distance. You see I'm getting some bigger stars that way. You just have to be careful because sometimes they like streak. Okay, so now, that was quick. We're gonna let this dry, and then we're gonna pull up the Frisket. Okay, so I did take the Frisket off of here because that took a while, and off of here. And excuse me, and I lifted a couple of edges just to make it easier to get these peels started. So you ready? Should I go left to right or right to left? I think we'll go right to left. Okay, I wish I had Superman music playing in the background. See how that just comes out of the blackness. There. Great how these are just appearing out of the blackness of space. Yep. One more ship. Being shy here. Or is it two? Look at that. What do you think? You think Dad would like this? I think he might. I think he might. I'm not entirely sure now that I'm looking at it. It needs the airbrush close. I think it does. What do you think? Wow. Well, that is how you frisk it. So to see the finish, I'm going to do a little touching up, a little ooga aga, and I'll be showing you the finish. Maybe I'll wait to our next show. Should I do that? That'd be so mean. I'll have to think about it.